Hello, hello, and welcome to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the CEO and founder of Beautifully Blooming, and you can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the number one internet talk network. Welcome back. Welcome back. I know it's been a minute to all of those who have had any sort of natural disaster or anything happening in their space over the last little bit. I hope things are well. I'm sending you all of my good vibes for healing and hope. And whatever that looks like for you in your situation, know that somebody is here cheering you on. Life has gotten a little bit crazy. So having somebody knowing that they're cheering you on is awesome feeling, and having that sincerity come through is something I really would hope that you feel in your heart, is that that sincerity is there. I'm genuinely hoping for the best for you, whatever that looks like. So today our topic is one that isn't necessarily something I thought I would delve into as a mindset coach, as an empowerment coach. But over the last 2 months, 2 months, it's been an experience for me as I have worked on working through some of my gut health issues, and really focusing on my physical body and getting back into the place I want to be, working on that place I want to be, what that looks like. And I did not realize how much my gut helped contribute to my mind and vice versa. And so I did some research into it. And so the topic hit right at the right moment of having your gut is connected to your mind. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the gut is considered your second brain. I apologize if I look off screen a little bit. I'm looking at some of my notes, but I'm here with you. I just want to give you all the best information that I possibly can. So your gut is considered the second mind, and it is considered that way because the way that your gut absorbs things and the way that your body responds to things is through your gut. And your gut and your brain are intimately connected. They are um, so intertwined that I think for a long time, we didn't realize how intertwined the two of them were, that it was your mind is one thing and your gut is another. Um, and they don't connect, they don't have anything to do with it. We've I'm sure you've heard in health classes when you were in high school or college, different things that you are what you eat type of thing. So you want to give that the best fuel possible, your gut the best fuel possible, but not knowing that the effects can happen on both sides of that spectrum, and that your your gut is just kind of there, and it helps feed and fuel the rest of your body, but not necessarily connecting or controlling some of the things in your body, because that should come in. We've been taught, or at least I have been taught, that it comes from your mind, that your brain releases the hormones, your brain tells you what hormones to release, your just everything comes from your brain. Your gut just kind of fuels the rest of it, gives your body the nutrients it needs, holds on to things sometimes, creates the for me, for a mom, it creates the habitat for growing another human. But your muscles and everything function off of what is fed, the fuel that you're fed to. So think about for a second the last time you were nervous. Maybe it was for a first date, maybe it was for a presentation, maybe it was pitching an offer to somebody, maybe it was just having a conversation with your significant other that seemed really hard, seemed a little bit uncomfortable. Those moments of feeling nervous, how did you feel physically, other than just the nerves? You feel, maybe you had a pit in your stomach, you have the um the feeling that you need to throw up a little bit. That happens to me occasionally. You're nauseous, you're your hands start to get clammy. But everything usually will stem from your gut before anything else. Before you start to get those other physiological responses to something, it starts in your gut. The first thing you feel when you're nervous or you're anxious is that pit in your stomach. The Everything just kind of being absorbed right there. The feeling of being nauseous, all of those things are absorbed right into your gut. And so they are that's your brain and your gut communicating with each other. It's saying your brain is saying, I'm nervous, and your gut is responding with, that's what nervous feels like. That's maybe what anxiousness feels like. Maybe that's what like those feelings, how you feel in your body those feelings of your body, how they show up in your body is your brain communicating them to your gut. And your gut is sensitive to emotion. So it gets connected. It can feel anything. It absorbs that energy, anything from excitement, elation, joy, happiness to sadness, anger, anxiety, depression, any of those, it gets absorbed in your gut as well. So those feelings help your gut function in a positive way or in a negative way. For a personal experience in this of um, from me, that I have been in some and have some toxic relationships in my life that I have cut off, or am working on cutting some of those off. But those relationships have taken a whole toll on my gut when I get to that point of, oh, I have to interact with this person or have something to do with this person in my life. It turns into a constant anxious state that my I always am feeling nauseous. I'm feeling very nervous. I'm feeling very that those anxiousness, not only in my gut, but the physiological responses are following as well. So sweaty hands, just feeling like I'm really hot all the time. These are specific to me. So if they resonate with you too, then awesome. But notice how your own body feels, because your body speaks differently to you. But those are some of those things that I experience and have experienced in dealing with certain people that are not great for my personality and my space, that it made it so my body would kind of shut down a little bit, that I was maybe packing on a little bit of extra weight that I wasn't planning on or thinking about. And it made it so that my appetite was gone. So when I would start to eat, then my body was holding on to it more. A lot of emotions that I felt about people's judgments or opinions, that I was reading way too much into them or giving them too much credibility in shaping who I was, that it just started to wreak havoc on my gut and how it was uh, properly functioning, and even if it was functioning, and if it was functioning at a high level or not in what it was supposed to do. So I was thinking I was doing really good. I was thinking I was happy, and what I was feeling, and that I was normal in my gut health. That by going through this experience and going through this journey over the last 2 months, that I wasn't quite in the same place that I thought I would be, because of my gut wasn't functioning the way that I wanted it to, the way that it needed to, and it wasn't absorbing the emotions of happiness and joy. It was holding on to those emotions of those negative emotions that I had held on to. If you've heard from people of being saying shedding different experiences, letting go of the past, kind of shedding thoughts and judgments of others, however you choose to look at it, it did something to their body, physically to their body. It wasn't just a mental, like, oh, I'm sloughing this off. It was kind of feels a little bit like a snake shedding its skin, in the fact that you're literally shedding that off of you and shedding those experiences off of you, that you're never going to go back to it again, that those feelings are being shed and you're letting go of them, and they're no longer a part of who you are, what you are, or who you're stepping into. And with that, that heals your gut by shedding those experiences, shedding those, uh, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it is just trying to let go of things that maybe happened to you years ago. Maybe it happened a couple weeks ago, but letting go of those experiences and not letting them sit in your heart, in your energy, in your body anymore, in those feelings will heal your body, and it will heal your gut and help you become more of a healthier person because your gut and your mind are functioning on that same higher wavelength. You're shedding that skin. And when you're able to shed through those experiences, you'll find that losing weight is a little bit easier. I've had kind of that fluctuation. This is my personal story and my personal journey, as I've shared with you guys through from day one. But that's what happened to me. My weight fluctuated. I was able to, by healing my gut, letting go of people's expectations that I thought I wasn't meeting, or their own um, judgments, beliefs about me, whatever that was, whatever it felt like, I had to try and be for these people, friends, family, whatever that looked like, whatever I needed to be or felt like I wasn't being, by shedding those expectations. I put that in quotes because it's um they were unspoken expectations, and they were expectations I thought that I needed to have to meet their standard. They weren't spoken to me, so there could be some in there or not, but since they're unspoken, it was easier for me to shed them. So by shedding them, it actually allowed me to drop a lot of weight. I'm a lot for me. I think is like 5 pounds because I do things incrementally, but it allowed me to shed weight off of my body in saying that I'm getting healthier, but I'm not holding on to those anymore. So I'm healing from the inside out. And something I think a lot of us take for granted is that healing is not only an outside venture. It's not just healing your mind. It's not just um, going through letting go of things and just doing that shadow work, doing the experiments, or the going through the my words are not right there right at the second, so hang on. Going through the motions of just trying to clear your mindset, letting go of things, but it's actually taking a physical load off of you by healing you from the inside out. We are healing everything in our body to fully heal everything on the outside of it. Think about getting a cut. Your body heals it from the inside out. It bleeds and coagulates and does all of that and heals it from the inside out. The cut is the last thing to close because everything else underneath it is healed. So it's healing everything to that point. So going through this healing journey of healing my gut has helped me heal in a lot of other different wounds that I didn't realize were wounds or that I was holding on to until I started the process of really feeling like, okay, I'm starting to feel happier. I'm starting to feel like things are going away. Things I've held on to don't matter as much anymore. And that I'm paying more attention to how I'm fueling my body, how I want it to go, how I want it to grow, and those things that come into it. So going off of that journey and that story, that we have been told by health um, doctors, anybody in the healthcare industry, to take probiotics, and that it's really good for your health. It's really good for your digestive system. Wow, that became a hard word right then. Your digestive system, and it's really helpful to build up whatever is in your body, and the microbiome that lives in your gut, and healing it is the key to healing some of the things that we feel in a mental state, that maybe it may help relieve some of those anxiety and symptoms that we have, maybe a little bit of the depression that we might have, some of the sadness that we might feel, anger we might feel. We might lead more into excitement, joy, elation, and really just enjoying our life. That they're here for us, but we got to heal the basics before we can heal all the way. all the way through. So you've been told to take probiotics. They're super helpful for your biome, your microbiome in your gut with the healthy bacteria, helping with your colon, anything like that. And then what I found too is that along this journey is that prebiotics were one of those things that were kind of like, does it do anything? Meh. Like maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And so I started taking a prebiotic as well, in knowing that it will help break down maybe more of my food, uh, instead of taking a bunch of enzymes, taking a bunch of other supplements to help regulate what it is in my gut. I felt like prior to this journey, I was just popping a bunch of different supplements, trying to make it so that I didn't feel like I was bloated, didn't feel like I was um, had super like feel when I ate certain foods that it just sat really heavy in my gut. Really kind of helped regulate all that digestive system in my body that wasn't regular before. So it just kind of was one of those. I'm just taking these, kind of throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping it would stick into what I really wanted to have with in my gut and to help me feel like I was making the progress I wanted to make. And so having that, all of throwing all of those supplements at it, I had to stop for a minute. I stopped for a minute after throwing what I felt like so many things into my body that weren't really serving a purpose. If they were serving a purpose, it probably was counteracted by something else I was taking that wasn't really doing their purpose, and everything just kind of domino effect out of that, of this purpose was knocked out by this purpose, which was knocked out by that purpose, and never really feeling like I was accomplishing anything in this journey. And so I jumped on, I took a break. I didn't take any sort of supplement for probably about 6 weeks, just got everything out of my system as much as I could. And I found a supplement that was going to give the prebiotics, the probiotics that were going to help heal my microbiome in my gut. It was going to keep my digestive system happy, along with stopping inflammation in my body, which we know that inflammation in your body is usually a sign of tension or different type of emotion that is coming out, and it's trying to express it's the body's way of saying, hey, pay attention. And also help with my hormone levels, kind of help balance out some of those things that I needed in my body to feel like I was more on the right path, that I was getting the dopamine, the epinephrine, um, the all of the endorphins, the um, hormones that just help you stay in a higher elevated state. And for running a business or having a career, feels like those happy, what I'm going to put in quotes, the happy hormones are in short supply at times, in that you're so busy running from one task to another that you don't necessarily have a ton of time to focus on working out to really build up those endorphins, or you're not really thinking of the core memories, the happy memories, the things that maybe keep you at your job or maybe make you feel like you have a purpose, those things to increase the dopamine levels in your body that keep it in that higher elevated state, that it's easier to just kind of fall into a state of I'm going through the motions. So jumping on this journey, on this supplement that I found, it was um 2 months and still going strong. 2 months of where it started from the beginning. It didn't taste as amazing as people had told me it would. Um, but that's part of healing your gut, is some of the things that don't taste amazing because they're like good for you, right? In the 1990s, there was a Savage Garden song that talked about junk food being tastes really good because it's not great for you. And when I would start to drink with the supplement, it would be just kind of like, oh, this tastes so terrible, but I'm doing it to just see what happens, to see what's going on. And I did it. And as the more I went for it, the better it tasted. That I knew I was healing. I had physical responses to it of that my hormone levels felt happier. I didn't feel as inflamed. I could work out a lot longer and a lot harder than I had in the past, regardless of any other pre-workout form that I was taking. Um, and during those 2 months, I didn't take a pre-workout, so I really wanted to give it a real solid shot that it was the only thing I did in making sure that it was something that was actually healing me, because I had just gone from throwing spaghetti at the wall with a bunch of other supplements that weren't really serving my body's purpose, and if it was, it probably got lost somewhere in that. So I went through it. I was able to work out harder. I was shedding weight a little bit easier than I had in the past. I was in a better mental state. I had a lot more clarity in the things I wanted to do. And it's just kept me functioning and going. And I do have the link for the supplements that I in the show notes as well, for if you're interested in that. But it was something that really changed my mind, changed my health, changed the patterns I took into it, and knowing that and learning going through this learning process of not really paying attention to how much my gut really dictated some of the things that went on in my brain and in my body. In that, if I started to feel a little bit like, oh, this is not a great experience or not a great place for me to be, something that would make me feel anxious, my mind automatically was thinking the worst case scenario, which made everything worse. Like it was a compounding effect. But the first place I felt anything was in my gut. And so having those connections um, in my mind and in my gut, really, as I've gone through my research in this, that it has been something that was super enlightening into how this is going all forward and what that looks like. And there have been, if you Google it, there have been plenty of studies about how much the gut and the brain are connected, and how healing your gut can actually help heal some of the symptoms that we're feeling from different mental health awareness. Um, it talks about helping with a little bit of anxiety, helping with a little bit of depression, and really starting to hone in on some of the symptoms and maybe help them seem less that is a part of what you would normally experience somewhere else, if your gut isn't healed. So those are some things that I've taken away from this amazing challenge, and not knowing that how intimately my physical body and trying to heal itself from the inside out, and I wasn't paying attention to that, which is going to lead into the second half of our show today about I the becoming the leading lady challenge that is starting up in the next week. It's 5 days to learn how to become the leading lady in your life, but this part will tie into what starting a business looks like, because as you start a business, there are a lot of things that can feel like, oh, you're really trying to listen to your gut in a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that it will tell you based on some of the experiences that you've had in the past and that you're not letting go of, or things like that that can dictate how this looks going forward. So, we've just talked about all of the great things about how your mind and gut are connected, and how we're going to use that going forward into what starting a business looks like. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the CEO and founder of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. And we'll be right back.
Hey, Mom.
Welcome back to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. Welcome back. I've got my little guy here helping me out for the rest of the show. He's going to show you his teeth. He's very into himself a little bit. But we just finished talking about how your gut is your second brain, that it dictates some of the things that actually happen in your brain, that most things in our body start in our gut, and then it communicates with our brain, which then forms the thoughts, and then goes through.
I grabbed the chippers with gummy bears.
Yeah, okay, great. We're having a snack with some gummy bears. So,
I love the jumpers.
things that are going through our body, your gut creates it goes through your mind creates the thought, and then it's a constant communication cycle that you're going through, because then your brain is showing it and going through it, and then your gut's repurposing it and showing up in different physiological things, and it's just a constant vicious cycle. So we have coming up in the next week is starting the Leading Lady Challenge, which the links will be in the show notes as well, and they pop up on the bottom of the screen. But this challenge is made for what starting a business looks like as a mom, as a wife, as a working woman, a career woman, and that maybe you're wanting to switch to a different something in your life. Maybe you're feeling like you need a little bit of a different route you need to take in life, whatever that looks like for you, and how this gut and mind connection can help with that. So hop into the challenge. It's 5 days. We're going to talk about the basic foundations of a business, but this gut mind section is going to be touched on as well, because of how important it is in what starting your business is. I wish that I had this information when I first started my business, started my first business, actually, because I had a business. I let it die before I created Beautifully Blooming. But before I started either of those, I wish that I would have known this information, because how much your gut helps and holds on to, it manifests in different ways and at different times. And so having this experience of going through this healing of my gut has allowed me to shed some experiences and feelings that I had clear back when I was in junior high, experiences that I had in high school, thoughts and feelings that I didn't think were important.
Mommy,
there's
a duck.
Yeah.
He's
Things that I didn't feel like were so important in the long run, or that stuck with me. I thought that I'd done the mindset work to shift them and to make them into an experience that I've built up from them, that they didn't sit in my body anymore. And my gut had held on to those for a lot longer than I anticipated. So when I was starting my business, my first business, I showed up in a very different way. I showed up a little bit scared. I showed up more desperate, for lack of a better term, showed up desperate in the fact that I really wanted it to work, that I really wanted the clients, that I really wanted all of this to come together, that sure, it was aligned with me, even though at times I felt like it wasn't. And until ultimately, I really knew that it wasn't. I really knew that it wasn't the goal and thing that I wanted to have in my life, that I wanted to have the experience that I wanted, because it wasn't the business that was aligned with me. Please close your mouth. You're chewing your gummy bears. They don't want them to see it. So going through this experience, as I have a business now, I've gone through some of the struggle of starting a business again, and thought I had healed from some of those, but going through the last 2 months has made it feel like I am in a completely different spot in my business, and a better spot in my business, because I have actually taken the time to really shed the opinions that I thought I had let go of. that I've shed that standard. I put that in quotes because it's the standard I thought I needed to be at, the standard I thought people wanted me to function at, that the expectation for of what I needed to be was there, and I wasn't making it in that space. So having that experience and going through that journey has been you're doing a great job, has allowed me to heal and find a better business experience and how I want to show up better for my clients, for all of you listening, for my social media platforms, everything like that. Yeah, that's great. Go check it out. That all of this is going to be a new experience. It's elevated me because I've healed from the inside out. I've healed in my gut, still healing. I'm not going to say it's 100% healed because there's different things that are healing, but I've been able to, going back to the stink analogy, shed my skin a couple times and feeling that I'm finally healing from some things that were way so far in my subconscious that they weren't even a conscious thought ever, that I've started to heal from those and allowed myself to elevate myself into this next person. So this is one thing that I wish I knew starting a business, that I knew in when I wanted to start my career, things of where you're at in your life, whether it's working or a stay-at-home mom, a working mom, just a working woman in general, whatever that looks like. Maybe you're going for the next raise at your job. Maybe you're going for a promotion. Maybe it is starting a business. Maybe it is taking a leap of faith and leaving a 9 to 5 to go to your own business as a full-time job, whatever that looks like for you. But having that, you have these experiences in that are sitting in your gut that may be really subconscious, but they're subconscious in our bodies, that you're having those doubts of saying, I'm not good enough to get this, or I'm not going to be able to have this type of business, or nobody is going to buy from me, or anything like that, that you've had in your body for so long, that maybe it could be stopping you from different things. Maybe it's helping add to some anxious feelings or feelings of depression, and that you're nobody's, that rejection feeling, that they're sitting in those negative emotions, that it's not, that cycle of the communication between your gut and your brain is not positive, and it's just holding on to it more and more and more and more. So then maybe you're thinking, I'm not ever going to be able to shed weight, which is a physical thing. Maybe I'm not going to be able to shed toxic people, or cut those boundaries, or make those boundaries, because of all of these things. And starting to heal that is going to show up in the different physiological ways, as well as mental, emotional, spiritual, all the pillars of what life is built on, the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional pillars. Those are what is going to get healed along with your body, and you're going to have a closer relationship to those people that are around you. You're going to have closer relationships with yourself. You're going to be in a space that is healthier for you in starting that. So I challenge you to show up for the challenge. Sorry, that was a little redundant, but that's how important it is. Show up for the 5-day challenge. Show up to become the leading lady in your life, the leading lady of your business, the leading lady mom, all of that, that is going to help you step one step further into that elevated life that you're really wanting to be in. That dream life that you seem so impossible to reach right now, but step into that. But all of that starts with one thing. The first thing I can think of, besides all of the mindset work, which is important, but starting with your gut and starting that positive communication cycle between your gut and your brain is what's going to take you one step farther into having the clarity and uh for my words are foregoing me at the moment, the clarity that you need to whatever it is in your life of where you need to go, healing your gut is going to be the one that will take you to that next level. This is a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I'm so glad that you're here. Remember that your gut is your second brain. That's why they always say gut check yourself, because it's telling you whether your mind is telling you something differently or your heart. Gut check yourself, but you can't gut check yourself in a healthy place if it's not healthy itself. So check there, get yourself a gut check, jump into the challenge. You're going to find so many amazing things, creating a business foundation as well as a life foundation in the challenge. There's the supplements that I have taken to help heal my guts, is the link as well. If that's something of interest to you, please reach out to me at beautifullyblooming.com or Mallory at beautifullyblooming.com. I look forward to hearing all about your journeys. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. And I will talk to you soon.